This also works for the iPhone 3G and the iPod Touch first generation.
So this iPod Touch second generation is running iOS 7, right? Wrong. But what do you mean it isn't running iOS 7? Look, it's even got the full look, the control center, lock screen, the assistive touch, even the multitasking. Well, in reality, this iPod is actually running iOS 3.1.3 with a custom firmware called White Door. Specifically, the version here that's being used is 7.1. At first glance, you won't be able to tell that this isn't actually iOS 7. I mean, the settings app looks pretty much like iOS 7, the calculator app, calendar, all the apps are recreated to look like iOS 7. It is also pre-jailbroken. As you can see, there's a Cydia icon in the home screen. The assistive touch isn't one by one accurate to iOS 7, but it's still pretty much like it. If we go to the settings, we can see that there are some white door settings, and to access them you just swipe right. There's even some extra settings. As you can see, we've got the wallpaper, folders, the app switcher, Siri, which is Sarah, banner notifications, control center, and assistive touch, because yes, this also has the control center and it actually works. It's not like a gimmick. It also has some fake translucency effects. The app switcher here is kind of a struggle to use. While it does look very accurate to the iOS 7 one, it's just very unresponsive, and it's just you and your luck. I've just discovered that you should kind of press. You can also swipe down to close apps, which isn't actually a feature on iOS 7, but hey, this one can do it. Unfortunately, there's no notification center. The keyboard still pretty much looks like the iOS 6 one, just with a different font. Speaking of the font, this actually has the iOS 7 font. One of the best parts about this theme is the lock screen. As you can see, it is nearly a one-by-one replica of the actual iOS 7 lock screen. The only slight disadvantage being that the status bar isn't transparent, so you can kind of see a line of it up there. And for some reason, the date is in French, but it does have the slide to unlock. It's not just one zone, you can do it on pretty much the entire screen. One thing that I found really strange is that when you open the App Store, instead of telling you that it doesn't work, it just crashes immediately. Same for the iTunes Store, it also doesn't work. And yeah, the dialog box, it's not that accurate to the iOS 7, it looks very off, but again, it's still kind of close. One major disadvantage of this custom firmware is that Cydia, which is pre-installed here because yes, this is pre-jailbroken, it doesn't even work. I'm guessing this is because it's like an outdated version. It says untrusted server, so I'm pretty sure the server is outdated for this Cydia. And also, since this project is so ambitious and it's cramming so many things, it does kind of make the thing feel like a Chinese knockoff. Like the animations aren't smooth. As you can see, as we've already talked about the multitasking. Look at this glitch, what the heck? Again, because remember that this thing only has like 128 megabytes of RAM, and again, the fact that they managed to actually cram all of this with the fake translucency effects, the control center, the lock screen, and the app switcher is actually really impressive. Fortunately, you can still sync music into this thing through iTunes on your computer, and the songs do work. Now, unfortunately, some parts of the interface do look a bit off. Like you see, when you actually want to set up a new passcode, the keyboard is pretty much the exact same as the iOS 3 version. And also, when you actually try to unlock your phone, it looks very strange and nothing like the actual iOS 7 one. Another thing is that they put the brightness and wallpaper menus both into one to make it actually like iOS 7. And there's a bunch of new wallpapers loaded on into this thing, like the iOS 7 wallpapers and some new iPod wallpapers. And just to prove that the blur effects are fake, you can see the blur effect here on the dock is just from the previous wallpaper. And I'm guessing the blurs are actually just screenshotting constantly the screen and then applying a blur effect, because there's no way that this is actual real-time blur. And the YouTube app still doesn't work. Folders here aren't one by one accurate to the iOS 7 one. As you can see, they're ripped straight up from iOS 4, but it does try to just do blur background effect. A hilarious thing about this theme is that since the iPod Touch and the iPhone 3G both don't have any flash, when you click on the flash toggle, it just maxes out the brightness and turns the screen into white. And some of the functions aren't even available, like the night mode and even the airplane mode. You can also still watch videos on this thing and sync them to iTunes. You can see again the interface is looking pretty strange, and we can't have the control center horizontally. It's always just vertically. Once I sync this to iTunes, it's asking me to update to the newest iOS 4.2.1. You can also remove the iOS 7 style multitasking and end up with a regular one. What did I say? Chinese knockoff. You can also unlock the advanced features which do really add a lot to this skin. After enabling every single visual and all those features, this is how the home screen looks like. And as you can see, the thing becomes nearly unusable, as in very laggy. Sure, it does look way better. You can see we've even got the iOS style switches, but it even tries to recreate the iOS 7 opening and closing animation. I've even added the icon shadows, which make this thing very laggy. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent theme. It's just a nice thing to mess around with all the visual stuff. I think they did a lot of effort, and to manage to cram all of these things into such a low-end device is actually amazing. Also, I couldn't get this Sarah, which is the Siri in here, to work for some reason, but oh well. It worked once for me and it never did again. And obviously, since this is such a low-end device, you do get all these lags, and sometimes my springboard was crashing, so I just had to exit safe mode. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend daily driving this because I'm pretty sure the RAM is being tortured right now, so I think you're better off with the stock iOS 4. It's more updated. You can even jailbreak it and sideload all apps, unlike here with the non-functioning Cydia. But at the end of the day, this just remains a little theme, custom firmware. If you want to mess around, if you've got a bunch of these just sitting there on the shelf and you want to make them somewhat have a use, then I guess this custom firmware is the one for you. Also, for some reason, the system sounds are disabled except the lock sound. If you want more videos like this, do let me know in the comment section. A sub would be appreciated, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.